Hey guys, how's it going? It's Tom Talks Wrestling here, and welcome to my Raw review for today's episode, 30th September 2019, the new era, the season premiere. I might start doing Raw reviews if this does well, if you guys like to see it. I plan on doing it for SmackDown and NXT/AEW. I'll have to figure out how to do that, but SmackDown I'm definitely going to do as well if this goes down well. So I'm just going to review Raw, talk about some moments, talk about my highlights, and just give my thoughts overall. So let's get right into this. So starting off, we finally have like an intro playing on Raw. It feels like so long since we've seen an actual intro, like a signature playing on Raw. So that was good to see. Pyro is back, which makes me so damn happy. By the way, guys, if you see me looking this way, it's because I'm looking at my notes. But Pyro is back, and that makes me so damn happy. So great to see Pyro back. Overall, I think the stage looks great. We're introduced to our commentary team, where Jerry Lawler just sounded like a video game character. I don't know what it was. I just felt like that. And the presentation just felt different overall. We open the show with Rey Mysterio coming out, and it shows Dominic in the front row. Rey seems to be cutting a promo before his match with Seth Rollins for the Universal title. He comes out and he says it's because of Dominic that he's here right now, and he's dedicating this match to Dominic. But then Brock Lesnar comes out. They have a little scuffle. Rey and Paul, and Brock, they're like snatching the mic out of each other's hands. And just as Rey's about to say something, Brock picks him up, hits him with the F5, hits him with another. And then, in the craziest moment of the night so far, well, so far it's the first segment, he grabs Dominic, Brock does, and beats the piss out of him. Just destroys him. He beats him up. He beats Rey Mysterio up. He goes to say he's leaving, comes back and beats them up again. Road agents come out to try to stop it. Brock Lesnar beats up the road agent. He takes Dominic to Suplex City. It's an absolutely crazy segment. And just based on this segment, I kind of already knew what was happening. That, okay, Rey Mysterio is going to be out of the match with Seth Rollins. We're going to get a new opponent for Seth. So it is what it is. Pretty predictable stuff, but I kind of knew that was going to happen. I was looking forward to seeing Seth versus Rey. But again, it is what it is. I just really want to see that match. I mean, Seth put an entire tweet out about how he's so excited to face Rey Mysterio, but didn't even make the save for him. If you were so excited to face Rey Mysterio, why didn't you come out and save him to stop the match from being cancelled? You know, why didn't you just do that? So yeah, this kind of confirms that Brock Lesnar just hates children. We saw it when he beat up Heath Slater, saying he doesn't give an S word about his kids, can't swear, don't want to get demonetized. And here he is beating up Rey Mysterio's son. Really awesome way to open Raw. New era. New era. And next up we have Sasha Banks taking on Alexa Bliss, aka stay off Twitter during this match. This match was pretty good overall. Bliss had pyro, which is really nice to see, and her graphics on the new set looked really cool, I gotta say. Becky Lynch came out as guest commentator, and her steam was back, which gave me great memories to SmackDown Live in 2016. What an era that was. Jerry Lawler got really offended because apparently Becky Lynch promised to him that she wasn't going to interfere in the match, which, by the way, she didn't. But Jerry was so offended and wouldn't shut up. He was like, she promised me! She promised me! It's like, chill out, dude. It's mentioned that Brock is being questioned by authorities, so at least they're keeping the kayfabe aspect there with police, because, of course, we've seen it before when a wrestler fights a fan, that the wrestler gets arrested. But Brock's being questioned. I don't know why he's being questioned, because it was just shown he was beating him up. What's he being questioned for? The finish sees Sasha begging for Bliss to stop and going, Bayley, as just a way to distract Sasha. Bayley wasn't there. She kicks Alexa Bliss's leg, rolls her up with holding the tights, gets the heel win. Becky comes in, the two of them brawl. Sasha runs away. Becky cuts a promo saying that you can escape now, but there will be no escape at Hell in a Cell. So yeah, good segment overall, and I'm very excited for this match at Hell in a Cell. I feel like it could steal the show and be a match of the year contender. Next up for the Raw Tag Team Championships, we have Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery. I'm not going to ramble about this match for too long. It was a good match, which I didn't expect anything less. Roode and Ziggler are both great. Heavy Machinery are so underrated. They're great in the ring. I remember the match they had with Bryan and Rowan. I loved that match. But yeah, during this match, there were some spots like Otis got a huge pop for the hot tag. He is tremendously over. And as well as he hit the double caterpillar onto Roode and Ziggler, which is a really cool moment. But Heavy Machinery were about to win when Ziggler interfered, and Rude would pin Tucker with a glorious DDT for Rude and Ziggler to retain the titles. Good match. Really good match. So Seth Rollins has an interview where he just talks about Ray, say he's going to beat The Fiend, blah, 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 whatever. And they said there'll be a new opponent for him tonight, which, fingers crossed, I'm hoping that it was going to be Morrison or Velveteen Dream. Fingers crossed. Next up, we have Miz TV with Hogan and Flair. Spoilers, The Fiend didn't attack Hogan like I wanted him to, like I think most of the world wants him to. It's very interesting that Ric Flair can make it onto TV, given the whole legal battle going on right now. It's very interesting that he can still be on TV doing that. Also very interesting to note that his graphics said 17-time champion on them instead of 16. Great, like how can you mess that up? They start teasing having a match, and the crowd start chanting, one more match, and I'm like, no, they can't actually be doing this at Crown Jewel, can they? But lo and behold, they announced Team Hogan versus Team Flair at Crown Jewel, a 5-on-5, where Hogan and Flair are the coaches, so at least it's not a 1-on-1, but, you know, they're having a 5-on-5 when literally Survivor Series is the pay-per-view right after Crown Jewel. Like, really? So, Seth is confirmed to be captaining Team Hogan, which makes sense since Ric Flair is trying to steal his girlfriend's nickname, and Randy Orton joins Team Flair, so we've got a bit of Evolution reunion going on. Then we're about to get Seth Rollins versus Randy Orton. I don't know if this was going to be for a title or not, because I was making food at the time. But Corbin comes out and attacks Seth Rollins. Then Rusev comes out and saves Seth, the newly American citizen. I can't speak. The new US citizen. He saves Seth, and it's like, is he a face or a heel? Are they just trying to make us forget that he got Maria pregnant? And, you know, it is what it is. He's in Team Hogan now because he's American now. Whatever. We go backstage where Rusev is being interviewed by Charlie Caruso, and he's all of a sudden a heel again. Charlie asks where Lana is. He doesn't respond, so we got some build on that storyline, which is nice. And Rusev challenges Seth Rollins for the Universal title, which is later confirmed to be happening in the main event. Next up, AOP, Authors of Pain, cut a promo. Good to see them back. They cut the promo in a language I don't understand, so, you know, all good, all good. Next up, Viking Raiders versus the OC. Very standard match. I'm just glad the Viking Raiders aren't doing squash matches anymore. I'm very glad we've got past that point, because they are so damn good and they deserve to showcase themselves properly in matches. They get the win of the OC, predictably, of course. Next up, Charlie Caruso is saying that Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman are still in the building, so they haven't been arrested despite being questioned by authorities, even though it was shown on live TV, him beating up a fan. Whatever. Cesaro comes in and says he wishes that he could beat up Dominic, which is very interesting. Cesaro and Ricochet get into it, and a match is set up for the next segment. The two of them do go on to have their match. Very quick match with Ricochet getting the win. Cesaro is wrestling in jeans, which I don't know why he was wrestling in jeans, but he just was wrestling in jeans, so sure thing, I guess. It's whatever. Okay, cool. And next up, we have a new episode of the Firefly Funhouse. Always exciting. Always a highlight of Raw. This one was very interesting. Rambling Rabbit dies. Rambling Rabbit is straight up dies. Gone but not forgotten. Thoughts and praise to Rambling Rabbit's friends and family. But the rest of Firefly Funhouse don't seem to care that much. They move on just seconds later from his death. And the puppets are talking about how they are so scared of what the Fiend is going to do to Seth Rollins come Hell in a Cell. And Bray compares Hell in a Cell to a world without chocolate, but only worse, where you can come in but you can't necessarily get out. Well, you can get out, I mean, after the match is over, I mean, whatever. Okay, I've said whatever about 100 million times in this video. Next up, AJ Styles versus Cedric Alexander for the US Championship. Praise the Lord, it isn't a squash match. Cedric doesn't get completely dominated. It's a pretty open match, very equal in terms of who gets offense in. There's some huge near falls. I really thought Cedric was going to win it a couple times. The crowd's going crazy, but ultimately AJ Styles does win after he reverses a lumbar check attempt into the Styles Clash to retain. Sick match. Why didn't we get this match at Clash of Champions? Why did we get a squash match? It doesn't make sense, but okay, let's roll with it. Next up, we cut to the Street Profits backstage, who kind of just plug NXT, and they talk about how they're going to be there on Wednesday nights, and yeah, that's cool, I guess, but They also say that if you say the Fiend 3 times and he appears out of nowhere, which is pretty funny stuff. So Street Profits, always a good laugh. Good to see them. Next up, we have Lacey Evans versus Natalya, who their feud, they're finally having their match for their feud after that has been building up for a couple of weeks. They could have easily put this on Hell in a Cell, let's be honest. I mean, there's only 3 matches announced for Hell in a Cell, and it's this weekend. Ugh. But yeah, Lacey slams Natty's head into the steel steps for a really brutal looking spot. And the finish sees Lacey raking the eyes of Natalya and rolling her up, holding the tights. So both women's matches ending with a very similar finish. Lacey gets the win and hits Natalya with the woman's right after the match is over. I was very convinced Carmella would come out with a 24/7 title and Lacey Evans would win it from her. But we didn't actually see any 24/7 stuff tonight, which kind of sucked. But okay, cool. Next up, Paul Heyman addresses Brock Lesnar's actions. He says pretty much it was Vince's fault for letting Heyman schedule Brock Lesnar onto WWE Raw, which is a pretty funny excuse. And he says that there are many wannabe tough guys in combat sports and MMA in wrestling, but none of them can compare to Brock Lesnar. Next up, we have an interview with Maria, where Maria says Rusev is not the father. Before that, Sasha Banks though comes and takes the mic and says Becky isn't man enough for her, and says she will make Becky tap. And then she says there's been 2 women's Hell in a Cell matches, which I don't think there has. I think wasn't Charlotte and Sasha the only one, or unless I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure Charlotte versus Sasha is the only Hell in a Cell match for women that's taken place. And then we see a limousine pulling up. Ooh, who could be inside? Interesting. But then we go right to Rusev versus Seth Rollins. Orton and King Corbin are chilling on the outside. Seth Rollins and Rusev had a pretty cool match. Rusev seems to be in control, hitting a springboard. Well, not hitting a springboard, he reverses one of Seth's springboard moves instead, the Machka kick. And then Bobby Lashley comes out. So Bobby Lashley makes his return after months of being gone since if he was Strowman. He points to the entrance ramp and I'm like, John Morrison, Velveteen Dream, who's it going to be? It's Lana, who I didn't even think of. And that was really cool to see Lana back. And then Lashley and Lana just start going at it. They just start snogging. And they just didn't stop. Like, they were properly going for it. And Rusev's distracted. All of a sudden, the lights go out. The Fiend comes out, attacks Rollins. And that is how the show ends. So, overall, good match here. And my overall review of Raw is, I think, it was a good way to cook up the new era of WWE Raw. I thought it was a pretty good episode. I can't imagine what this new era of Raw would be like without Paul Heyman as the creative director. So I'm very glad Paul Heyman's there. But overall, I enjoyed this episode of Raw. I didn't think it was the best, didn't think it was the worst, but still pretty good. So yeah, thank you all for watching this video. If you did enjoy, smash the like button. I need to edit and upload this quick. It's 4 AM and I have a lecture at 9 AM, which is so great. See you all soon. Goodbye and keep on rolling.